Today down in the comments, I want to know who is your favorite lesser-known horror movie monster. And notice that I asked for the monster, not the movie. Because, as we all know, you can have a pretty cool monster in a pretty crappy movie. Hello, I'm Adam Cesare. This is Project Black T-Shirt, the channel where we take a new or reissue horror movie, horror Blu-ray, some piece of horror cinema, and then pair it with a piece of horror literature, a horror book that you might like if you enjoy that movie. If you want to see more videos like this, please be sure to hit like and then subscribe, and then go check out my other videos. I got a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of movie and book recommendations for you. This is going to be a little bit of a follow-up video because we're going to be talking about a release from AGFA, the American Genre Film Archive, in collaboration with Something Weird Video. We did a wrap-up of their first two releases, and I gave you the lowdown, and I was like, oh, this is a pretty good label. You should probably be paying attention to them. And then I went quiet for a little while, and now I'm going to talk about their brand new release of GODMONSTER of the Indian Flats, along with all its special features and stuff like that. A little bit different on the back end of this video, where we're going to talk about a channel update. I'm going to give you a little quick scheduling update, where I'm going to be, what I'm doing with my summer, how I'm enjoying it, and where I'm going to be signing and reading soon, so if you guys can come on out, along with a book recommendation like always. So, GODMONSTER of the Indian Flats, I think this is either the 5th or 6th Blu-ray. I know they've released some DVDs too of straight-to-video stuff along with Bleeding Skull, but this is AGFA plus Something Weird as it has on the label. They're doing these beautiful 4K and 2K scans of weirdo movies from the Something Weird vaults, and these are premium upgrades on movies that you probably wouldn't think that you'd get premium upgrades for. GODMONSTER of the Indian Flats, it is a Something Weird video release that one of the few from the Image days, the Image double disc days, that I did not have. The cover just never super appealed to me. I find this cover much more appealing, and I find the original alternate art very, very appealing. GODMONSTER of the Indian Flats is directed by Frederick C. Hobbs, which his name is a little bit of a mouthful, his name is a little bit eccentric, and his movies are a little bit eccentric. GODMONSTER of the Indian Flats is not, I would not say, a kind of schlock fest, so bad it's good kind of movie, but instead, and this is a word that they use even on the copy, this is kind of an outsider art movie. Yes, it is ostensibly a monster movie, but the monster has very little screen time, even though it is a pretty cool monster. The plot is very, very hard to synopsize, but I guess the A-plot is about a small town in Nevada where a mayor has kind of taken over and has instituted all these rules about how people kind of dress and how they keep tourists coming in. They're kind of a old-timey throwback. Everyone's dressed like it's the Wild West, even though it's current day 1970s. This stranger comes into town where there is a little bit of a kind of race relations element to the story, even though it doesn't 100% go there. He is an African-American man who's representing an outside interest, a business that wants to start buying up parts of the town so they can basically reopen mines, and how the mayor doesn't want him to. So it's all this kind of civic development A-plot, and then the B-plot involves a mutated quasi-primordial sheep monster. A farm boy finds this basically giant embryo that either arrives or is made before his eyes, and then there is a scientist who's helping him study it, and then in that third act, you can't have a giant mutant sheep embryo without having a rampaging giant mutant sheep at the end of the movie. But that's not even spoiling it, telling you that there is going to be a monster in GODMONSTER of the Indian Flats. That's just how long it kind of takes for that sheep to get loose. But once it does, it is crazy. And the other parts of the movie are not what you would consider monster movie fodder boring parts, are not at all boring because of the weirdness and the somewhat accomplished acting and dialogue. It's pretty wacky, pretty cool throughout, will definitely keep your attention. If this at all sounds like something, if you want a quasi-monster movie from 1973 and you haven't seen this, which I hadn't, it's definitely worth picking up, and that's just part of what's on this disc, and I'm going to tell you about the rest of it right now, because And I don't really know why Agfa is and Something Weird have kind of been doing this, but this is technically a double feature. You have a whole other film scanned in 2K. It looks really nice. The print is a little bit beat up, but they kind of preserve that film grain element. So it's The Legend of Bigfoot, 1975, which clearly I'm a fan. But it is a pseudo documentary, which they had a lot of around this time. There's In Search of Bigfoot, which Vinegar Syndrome put out on one of their double feature discs. They're kind of like very manly wild man narrating his experiences, out in the wilderness, where he helps catch rogue bears. He nurses wild cats, pups or kittens back to health. There's all this great filmed on film vintage nature footage mixed in with this quasi found footage. Is it a documentary? Is it I'm not saying they're faking, but is it fake Bigfoot footage? It is a must if you are a cryptozoology fan. And like I said, I think Something Weird really buries the lead in having that be, the only indication is that it's on the back, or if you read the listing of special features on Amazon, you'll see Legend of Bigfoot included. There are also, and Something Weird was notorious for doing this, they would basically just fill their tapes and DVDs up with all these short subjects and extra things. And there's a real smorgasbord, even though it's a smorgasbord of 3, but there are 3 great short subjects on this disc. There's one called Strange Sightings, which is probably the weirdest thing on a very weird disc, which is a kind of amateurish man-on-the-street interview film about UFOs, and the narrator has some obscure legal problem that he's making this film to kind of clear his name, that he is not a, how does he put it? That he has my alleged UFO eccentricity. It's very strange. It's kind of hypnotic. It's about a half hour. There is the one after that is a scare film, a industrial film, a PSA about school bus fires and how bus drivers and bus patrons can stop school buses spontaneously catching on fire. It's very strange, very goofy. The oldest thing on the disc is this short 30s or 40s. It's unclear because on the AGFA disc it doesn't tell you the dates of things, but it's called White Gorilla, and it's just fun quasi King Kong in miniature, like a little 10-minute version of King Kong with a guy in a white gorilla outfit. Overall, if I had one small complaint about this whole package and about their treatment of GODMONSTER of the Indian Flats at all, which is a great 4K transfer, the best you're ever going to see this movie. Maybe a little bit better than it deserves, but it is a glorious movie with a weird, awesome, unbelievable kind of art film ending that you have to see. But if I had one small complaint, is that there's not really any special features to put the movie in context. You kind of just watch it and you're like, what the hell is that? What did that all mean? How was that made? And the disc doesn't really have any features that tell you anything about what this movie was and how it was made. You're basically left with the kind of back cover copy to guide you. That kind of information is all readily available online, so it really is a minor problem. This is, if you're gonna start with one AGFA disc, I would actually really recommend this one, especially because it's got some really weird stuff and some less weird stuff, and it'll be a good kind of sampler platter. And they kept it even. All their sexploitation and their kind of adult stuff is on other discs. They didn't put that in here. So this technically, you could probably put GODMONSTERs of the Indian Flats on to babysit your kids, although I don't know why you would. What's wrong with you? But it's pretty much a family film double feature, especially since The Legend of Bigfoot has so many cute, fluffy animals in it. Alright, so like I said, we're going to do a quick kind of channel update. Some of you, my more astute, more loyal viewers, probably realize that I've missed a couple weeks here and there during the summer. It's the summer. I've got a ton of stuff I'm doing. I've got a ton of work due for various publishers. I am bit up by mosquitoes. I am trying to hang out and go to the pool as much as possible and all in that time. So I've switched to, I haven't really announced it, but I've switched to a bi-weekly schedule. It's, if you go back, it's like, oh, that lines up. He has been doing every other week. I'm sure once September rolls around, I am going to get back on the horse and stick with my weekly schedule. But that's why I'm not stopping the channel. I'm not leaving you guys. I love you all too much. I'm just doing bi-weekly during the summer because, boy, it's hot in here where I'm filming, and all I'm doing is sitting here talking, and that took it out of me. Also, another quick announcement. Scares That Care is a wonderful nonprofit organization that helps various people in need. They help like I think it's three people each year, and you can go to their website and check out who's getting help this year. But they also run a charity weekend. They don't want to call it a convention, but it is ostensibly a horror convention where all of the proceeds that they get, I think, go to charity. It's got a real community vibe. It's down in Williamsburg, Virginia. So if you're at all around the Virginia area, August 3rd through the 5th, that weekend, I am a guest there. My friend Matt Serafini are a guest there. Scott Cole and Patrick Lacey, the other Black T-shirt boys, are gonna be there. So if you like our stuff, and if you're in the area, or if you just like horror conventions and you want to go, see some celebrities and get some autographs and stuff like that, please stop by to Scares That Care. I really, this will be my fourth year, I think, third or fourth year going. I cannot recommend it enough. I'm in Philadelphia. I traveled down to Virginia in order to do it. It's a great convention. So I'll be there. I'll be signing books. I'll be selling books. I'll be speaking on panels and podcasts and crap like that. But yeah, go to their website. They've got the schedule. They've got all the info. But Williamsburg, Virginia, August 3rd through the 5th. I'll see you there, hopefully. This week's book recommendation is completely self-serving. They are not always. If this is your first video you're watching, they're usually other people's books. But this week I am promoting Video Night. This is my first novel. I like to pitch it as The Breakfast Club meets Night of the Creeps. It is a late 1980s alien invasion story. I wrote it a long, long time ago, but that doesn't mean it's not good. It's real good. The ebook of this is now 99 cents for a very limited time. I'll put the link down in the description. If you pick it up and you like it, please drop a review. Please let me know what you thought. If you want one of these beautiful softcover bad boys, those are available too. And like I said, I'll be selling them and hawking them and signing them at Scares That Care in a couple weeks from now. That's it. I've talked too much. I've talked more than I wanted to. I'm Adam Cesare. Please hit like. Please subscribe. Go to my website with the mailing list. Oh, you know all this stuff. Have a great week, everyone. I'll see you in 2 weeks.